Hello, and welcome to Founder Freedom, from hustler to CEO, the podcast built for e-commerce entrepreneurs and small business owners who are ready to work less, earn more, and scale smarter. I'm your host, Stephen Palmer, and today we're talking about trying to scale a product without losing your personal touch. This episode is going to spark some serious inspiration. Let's jump in with Lexi Garrett, founder and CEO of Alexis Drake, a luxury leather goods brand. Welcome, Lexi.
Thanks so much for having me.
Very welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about the Alexis Drake value proposition?
Absolutely. I started Alexis Drake about 11 years ago. We design and manufacture affordable luxury leather handbags and accessories. We do everything in-house, and so that's what makes us unique.
Nice. Handmade. Love it. So what inspired you to create Alexis Drake?
So I've always been a maker, always been making something, and had a jewelry business in college. And about 10 years ago, my husband was giving me a hard time about my handbags. I was carrying around a reusable grocery bag. And he said, you're a mom, you're a professional. Let's go ahead and upgrade your handbag. So I went out and I was like, what, you don't like my Lululemon shopper bag?
That is fun.
So he said, go out and find yourself something that you love, that, makes sense for you. And so I did. I started looking in the marketplace. I, went everywhere. I looked from all of the known brand names, your Michael Kors, your Coach. And truly, there's some great options out there. And what I was disappointed in is I'm an artist. So I look at design and functionality. And so I didn't really find anything that had good design that made sense as far as function and that was made out of high quality materials. And I think that that's pretty normal, whether we're at Target grabbing, a quick shopper or, so that was it. And so
that's good inspiration. So you like classy stuff and you wanted to bring more classy stuff to the world, which is great.
Yeah.
And obviously
your
husband likes classy stuff. And if he was shunning your handbag situation, that's awesome.
I was like, seriously, you noticed this? So I was like, okay, I got to make a change.
I could definitely be that guy too.
Yeah.
So, let's go a little bit more in depth to what like challenges or gaps that you saw in the marketplace when you were thinking about putting this business to launch.
So when I first started, I was teaching art. And so I had a beautiful focus group of people that also understood, good design and functionality, had to give me feedback. So I started making these bags and wearing them and, getting feedback and trying to figure out what was the optimum, material and what was the best size and that kind of stuff. And it was really enjoyable to get everybody's feedback because it wasn't just what I wanted. It was getting ideas from other people just like me. And so I was seeing a need for that in the market in the sense of there were other people who wanted something that made sense and didn't want to sacrifice the quality or the price tag. I mean, there were a lot of, I guess, pain points in that. And so it was a fun, R&D moment where I was able to do that. And then it all kind of hit when I was in line for coffee. And I sold my handbag off my arm while I was in line. I was like, okay, I need to figure out a way to make more and do more and that kind of stuff. Because this is the thing. People want this. So
that's great. That's kind of fun too.
Yeah. It was cool. We were at a conference and I literally had to dump all my stuff out and put it into the conference bag that they gave you. And I was like, oh, here we're back to the reusable grocery bag.
Yeah. That's very cool. I think it was not too long ago, I saw a video of a company making some specific like baby backpacks and they did a sales video around that, like at the airport and just like sold it off their back.
Love it.
It was pretty fun. Yeah. It's great marketing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's it. That's how we see things, right? We see them in use and we're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Creators do for sure.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, beyond what you've already expounded on about the gaps, what do you think was the existing way of doing things within that niche that were broken or inefficient in comparison to what you were trying to bring to the market?
Yeah. We go out and buy what's available. There's no really questions of choice. It's, whatever those designers or those giant companies put out, for that season, or, those, that's, it's, you kind of go to the store and you see what's on the rack. There's no choice. And I don't think I realized this in the beginning, that because I was making it, I was allowing our customers to not only choose kind of the style that I was creating, or have them, have input in what we were making, but they were able to choose the leather color and stitching color and hardware color of their handbag. And truly, I didn't even know that I was giving them that custom option or custom experience in the beginning until later. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is new. Like, allowing customers to have a choice in this is actually really exciting. And they loved doing that. And truly, like I said, I had no idea until like later on. And I was like, oh, okay, this is part of our brand. This is pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome. Because I mean, a common theme in my podcast series is people make this statement a lot: listen to your customers. And for your conversation here in relation to the big brands out there, I mean, do they really do that? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Not in the same way that what we're talking about, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So your company solves this problem by listening. And what do you think that you do better than the competition?
I think we're able to offer, being a former art teacher, and artist, I'm always really concerned about the process. And so I think one big thing that I've really tried to create with our company, I mean, like obviously where we manufacture, we also give tours and stuff, is to actually allow our customers to be part of that process. So whether our customers are online and they're getting to choose all of their custom options, but that they understand where it's coming from. I think that obviously, current events have shown that it's really important to know where your stuff comes from.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that, again, it all happened, out of accident, but that process is kind of what drives us. And we try to create a really beautiful process in our product and allow our customers to be part of that. I think that as humans, we have this need to create or need to be part of creation and understand how it happens. Some say that they're creative, some say that they're not. But if you can allow those customers to actually be part of that process, whether or not they have a creative bone in their body, they get to be part of something that they get to carry around. And so they're spending roughly the same amount of money as they would, with those, mid-range brands, but they're getting to be part of that experience.
Yeah, that's cool. So in terms of going a little bit deeper, so let's say I'm a new shopper, I'm looking at your online store, I stumbled into your shop in Cheyenne. What do you think the biggest misconception that people have about what your company does?
Even though we are very clear with our brand messaging that we make everything in-house, I think that people still don't understand that it can be, that it's made here, that we make it. And that's again why we try to kind of show that process through our socials and share that actual real visual of, our seamstresses sewing the product and the laser cutting out the leather for the patterns for the bags. And so misconception would be that we're, opening boxes of handbags and then throwing them on the floor.
Right.
And that's exactly opposite. We get boxes of leather and we turn them into handbags.
Right. So you're still working with the raw materials, and that is probably a misconception, especially depending on who your shopper is for that moment in time. Because you're a boutique, so
yes.
So definitely a specific customer.
Yes.
So do you have a success story that you'd like to share for the listeners, either about a customer or maybe a big win for your mission statement?
Yes. I think that, you hear all those wonderful stories of, if you're in business a year after you start, that's a really big win, or you're in business, 5 years after you start, it's a huge win. In 10 years, right. I guess for entrepreneurs, you're in it for the long game. I know that sometimes, serial entrepreneurs are not in it for the long game, and I can totally understand that. And I appreciate that. But I will say that every milestone that we hit, whether it's, creating lean manufacturing around our process, or, bringing in a few new wholesale partners, or trying to figure out other revenue channels, we've learned so much. And I think that for us, it's not necessarily been a success story that necessarily looks like everybody else's success story. And that's what I think is most important about business, is that you can read all the business books that you want. And yes, there are, 90% of all that stuff makes sense and applies to everything you do. But that 10%, it's going to look different for you, and it's going to, it's going to have to be different, and that's a good thing. And you want it to make sense for you and what you want out of the company. And celebrating those small wins along the way is really important. And looking back at, how far you've come over whatever time period is really important.
Yes,
But
you must savor the wins.
yeah. Yep. Yeah. Because business is hard, right? It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. And that's what it's supposed to be fun and scary.
And, I think most of the people listening to entrepreneur related material would understand that. I mean, this is a 24/7 thing, people. It's not the 9 to 5. It's never
No.
9 to 5.
No.
Never.
No. And if it is, then that's awesome for you.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. You created yourself a job.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a passion, right? And that's what entrepreneurs feed off of, is that passion and that, the drive to whatever's next, as far as whether it's a milestone in your business or, exiting and starting something new. And so I will say that I feel like my biggest success is showing my former art students that you can create a business out of something that you make, that you can use, our community has been so supportive of this. And that's the coolest part, is that, the people that have been supportive of what we're doing, there's nobody else like us, and that's pretty cool. But showing people the process and allowing them to be part of that. And I do think that that's the biggest thing, and having that connection, because we all crave connection. And for women, and I'm sure that some men too, we carry a handbag most all of the time. And so it's that thing that kind of represents our style or our chapter in our life, whether it's a diaper bag or a teeny, belt bag or something like that. It represents something that's important. And feeling put together and, feeling confident about that. That's what it is. That's a part of that.
That's great. I love it. Because all these things are important for people that don't understand that. You gotta wear it well, so you could smile.
Well, that was the whole
inside.
thing. That's kind of how we started. It was like, as a busy mom, and I wanted to feel put together, but I knew that I had showered, and that was a win for me. And I wanted the rest of my attire to make me feel stylish and put together, even when I hadn't gotten enough sleep that night. I still wanted that confidence. And so that's what I fed off of for so long. And so that's what, I wanted a bag that I could carry from day to night, or from, soccer game to, my, PTO meeting or whatever. But I wanted that feeling of being put together when I didn't maybe feel all together.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I love it. I love it. I am of the same culture, and it saddens me when I get on an airplane and half the people are wearing pajamas and Uggs. It makes me very sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's cute. So are there any trends you think that are shaping the future for Alexis Drake here?
I will say we've been really excited to, over probably maybe the last, maybe 6 or 7 years, the idea of side hustles. I've been really excited to kind of just dive into seeing what people are doing, because that's what this started as. And so it's been really fun for people to understand that and have that connection to side hustles. And that, and in addition to that is the shift in industry, like consumer awareness of where your stuff comes from. They are shifting. Consumer behavior is definitely shifting towards made in America, or made sort of locally, I guess I should say, but that awareness. And that's been really cool and supportive, because manufacturing domestically is obviously more expensive, and that's okay. Like, we do that on purpose. And we love that that's part of our brand value. Like, that's very important for us. And so it's been really fun to see the industry shift, and consumers look for that in products that they choose to buy.
Yeah.
And so we're loving that. So we just need more of it, I guess.
No, we do it. It doesn't never moves fast enough. I live in Wisconsin, and I used to be from Chicago. And ever since I arrived in Wisconsin, I'm just like, oh, this is my place, right? And the food movement here is almost as strong as it is in California. But it's just it's just not fast enough. For us, it's not fast enough.
Yeah. Well, you came from Chicago. What do you expect? Chicago is the best food ever.
Yeah.
We lived in Chicago for a while, and oh man, the food.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Love it.
So what about for other listeners here? Any advice, just general business advice to keep them sane? Like, what could they be looking out for to stay ahead of the curve, or potholes to avoid that you've experienced?
One big piece of advice that I always give to everyone who walks through our store if they ask, every opportunity is a learning opportunity. So whether you fail at something or you win at something, there's always learning involved. And so we never say that we fail here. We say we either win or we learn. And
Nice.
learning is a lot hard sometimes, and we learn a lot of what not to do. But that just makes us better for when we remember.
Yep.
And then we do better next time. That's I think life advice. But as far as business advice, we're learning to be really lean with our manufacturing, and that has been kind of a game changer just for our understanding of how we utilize our material. And that's for any manufacturers out there. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new. It's just something that because we deal with a raw material and a natural material at that, it's just something that we've grown to kind of understand more. And so like lean manufacturing has really helped us understand that. Yeah. Manufacturing and retail are two totally different monsters. And because we're all under one roof, it's tricky, but good. I mean, I think it would be very difficult for us to just be a retailer, because I love the idea that I can control the hardware and different leather colors and different lining. And I love the idea that we can give our customers a unique product every season.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, you can't do that if your hands are clean.
No. And that's it. And that's part of it. So
another very common theme that comes up in this podcast series: know your customers, keep your hands dirty. And when I hear earlier this week, I heard somebody say, cherish the last 15 minutes of every day. Don't walk away from the office if the phone is ringing, people.
I love
Pick up that phone.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that. That's a good one.
So what's coming up next for your company, Lexi?
We are doing some really fun things. We're partnering with some universities to offer some game day essentials. That's been so exciting. We've, kind of been introduced to a whole new world of licensing and some really fun things that we don't know anything about, but we're learning. But it's been really fun to see the shift in just, the game day fan culture, and to see that they are wanting something that might not just be for game day, but for every day.
Yeah.
And we love working with universities because they have that fan base. And if we can provide them a better quality product with their stuff all over it, it's beautiful, a beautiful partnership. We've truly, that's been really cool. And we're exploring our wholesale channel. That's not been something that we've been able to do up until about now, or at least to expand to. And so we're really loving our wholesale partnerships. It's been really, really fun to get to know these wholesalers that are doing good things in their own shops and in their own communities, and being able to share our product with them. And we're loving that. So.
That's awesome. Your company's really growing leaps and bounds.
Yep.
So what's the best way for the listeners to get involved with Alexis Drake?
You can visit us on our website, which is www.alexisdrake.com, or hit us up over our socials, which we're at WEAR, Alexis Drake, on Instagram and Facebook. We're not really on Twitter or the others. So
you can't cover them all. You can't cover them.
I know, right? Yes.
I like your handle. That's cute. The wear.
Thank you.
Wear in front of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people say we are, and it's like close, but it's more we want you to wear Alexis Drake.
Someday they'll get it.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a wrap. So thanks for joining us on Founder Freedom. A huge thank you to Lexi Garrett for sharing the Alexis Drake journey, a brand that proves thoughtful design, local production, and longevity can coexist beautifully. If you love stories of artistic grit and business grace, be sure to follow Alexis Drake on Instagram for a behind-the-scenes look at the brand in motion. Like what you heard here? Subscribe and share this episode, and leave us a review to help other founders find their path to freedom. Until next time, keep creating, keep scaling, and never lose your style.